It happened only once in recorded history. A man entered a garden to pray. Hours later, soldiers would arrest him. The next day, he would be nailed to a cross. But before any whip touched his back, before any nail pierced his hands, something terrifying happened. The Gospel of Luke says his sweat became like great drops of blood falling to the ground. Was it symbolic, a miracle, or could modern medicine actually explain what happened that night? Tonight, we're going beyond tradition, beyond assumptions, into one of the most mysterious moments in the Bible. This is the untold truth behind Jesus' agony in Gethsemane. Chapter 1. The night everything changed. Jerusalem was unusually quiet. It was Passover. Only hours earlier, Jesus had shared his final meal with his disciples. He knew Judas had already left. He knew betrayal was coming. He knew Peter would deny him. He knew every disciple would run away. Most importantly, he knew exactly how he would die. Not because someone predicted it, because he himself had repeatedly told his followers. The cross wasn't a surprise. It was approaching. 1 minute at a time. Jesus walked to a place called Gethsemane. The name means oil press. Olives were crushed there. Ironically, before his body would be crushed, his soul would be. Chapter 2. My soul is overwhelmed. Matthew records Jesus saying, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death." These are extraordinary words. Jesus wasn't merely anxious. He described a level of emotional suffering so intense it felt life-threatening. 3 times he prayed, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." Notice something important. Jesus wasn't trying to escape God's plan. He was fully submitting to it. His prayer reveals both his complete humanity and his perfect obedience. Chapter 3. What was the cup? Many people assume Jesus feared physical pain, but thousands throughout history have faced torture with remarkable courage. So why was Jesus in such agony? In the Old Testament, the cup often symbolizes God's judgment against sin. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and the Psalms all use this imagery. Jesus wasn't simply anticipating nails. He was preparing to bear the full weight of humanity's sin. The one who knew no sin would become sin for us. That burden cannot be measured. Chapter 4. The medical mystery. Then Luke records something astonishing. And being in agony, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat became like great drops of blood falling down to the ground. Luke was not only a gospel writer, he was also a physician. His wording deserves careful attention. Today, medicine recognizes an extremely rare condition called hematidrosis. Under extraordinary psychological stress, tiny blood vessels surrounding the sweat glands can rupture. Blood mixes with sweat, producing reddish droplets on the skin. Medical literature has documented this phenomenon in individuals facing extreme fear, severe trauma, or imminent execution. It is exceptionally rare, but it is real. While we cannot prove this is exactly what occurred in Gethsemane, many physicians and biblical scholars consider hematidrosis a plausible medical explanation for Luke's description. Whether interpreted medically or as a vivid description of overwhelming agony, the passage conveys an unmistakable truth. Jesus experienced profound suffering before his arrest even began. Chapter 5. The invisible suffering. The crowd never saw this moment. Rome never recorded it. The soldiers knew nothing about it. Only heaven witnessed it. This reminds us that the deepest battles are often invisible. Long before public suffering, private surrender happened. Victory at Calvary began in Gethsemane. Chapter 6. Why didn't he walk away? Think about it. Jesus could have left. He knew Judas was coming. He knew the soldiers' route. He could have disappeared into the night. Instead, he stayed, not because he lacked power, because he chose love. John's Gospel records that when the soldiers arrived and Jesus declared, "I am he," they fell backward to the ground. Even in arrest, his authority remained. The cross was never forced upon him. It was embraced. Chapter 7. The angel. Luke also records another remarkable detail. An angel appeared from heaven and strengthened him. Notice carefully. The angel did not remove the suffering. The angel strengthened him to endure it. Sometimes God's answer isn't immediate escape. Sometimes his answer is supernatural strength. Why this matters today. Everyone experiences Gethsemane moments. Moments of uncertainty. Moments of grief. Moments when obedience is costly. Jesus understands those moments because he lived them. Hebrews tells us that we have a high priest who sympathizes with our weaknesses. He knows fear. He knows sorrow. He knows loneliness, yet he remained faithful. Conclusion. So, did Jesus literally sweat blood? The Gospel of Luke records that his sweat became like great drops of blood falling to the ground. Modern medicine describes a rare condition called hematidrosis that many consider consistent with such a description under extreme stress. The Bible does not present this detail merely to satisfy curiosity. It points to the immeasurable weight Jesus carried on behalf of humanity. Before the nails, before the crown of thorns, before the cross, there was Gethsemane, a lonely garden, a desperate prayer, a willing Savior, and the greatest act of surrender the world has ever witnessed. Because in that garden, Jesus chose obedience over escape, love over comfort, and the cross over himself. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs hope today. And remember, the victory of Easter began with the surrender of Gethsemane.